The consistent circle present this audiobook titled The Kanban of You, Visualizing Your Path to Personal Mastery. Subtitle: How a Simple Board Can Transform Your Life, One Task at a Time. Narrator: Divine Echo. Introduction: Your life is a project. Quote, "We spend our days performing the tasks and attending the meetings that fill our calendars, while our deepest ambitions, to write that book, to build that strength, to cultivate that peace, slip quietly into the shadowy realm of someday. We manage everything except the most important endeavor of all, the conscious creation of our own becoming. Look around you. We live in a world of sophisticated management. We track budgets with precision, orchestrate complex work projects, and plan elaborate vacations down to the last detail. Yet, when it comes to the singular project of our own growth, our hopes, our skills, our health, our peace, we so often default to haphazard hope. We react to the loudest demand, drift on the currents of obligation, and watch our grandest personal goals recede on the horizon, perpetually, busy, but rarely feeling we are truly advancing. This dissonance between our capability to manage external projects and our frequent failure to steward our inner development is the central puzzle of modern life. We sense the potential within us to be more focused, more skilled, more balanced, more whole, but lack the architecture to build it. We are master builders without a blueprint for our own home. This book offers you that blueprint. It is not another rigid, punishing regimen destined to collect guilt in the back of a drawer. It is an invitation to a gentler, more visual, and profoundly more honest way of being. We will explore how a simple, elegant tool, the Kanban board, can become the most powerful mirror and map for your journey of self-development. Originating from the lean manufacturing floors of Toyota and refined in the world of agile software development, Kanban, Japanese for visual signal, is, at its heart, a philosophy of flow. It is about making work visible, limiting overwhelm, and facilitating smooth, sustainable progress. What if we applied that same genius not to the production of cars or code, but to the cultivation of the self? What if you could see your priorities, your progress, and your procrastinations laid out before you, not as a critique, but as a compassionate and clear-eyed starting point? The Kanban of You is a guide to translating the chaos of aspiration into the clarity of actionable flow. You will learn to break the monolithic shoulds into manageable steps, to protect your focus in a world of infinite distractions, and to build a tangible rhythm of completion that fuels confidence and momentum. This is more than a productivity system. It is a practice of mindfulness and intentionality. It is about moving from feeling perpetually behind to feeling orchestrally in flow. Your journey from overwhelmed to orchestrated begins with a simple board, a handful of commitments, and the courage to see your life's work, the work on yourself, truly begin. Prepare to visualize your potential, and in doing so, start to pull it, step by tangible step, into your reality. Chapter 1: The Philosophy of Flow, Kanban as a Mindset for the Self. Quote, "For a long time, it seemed to me that life was about to begin, real life. But there was always some obstacle in the way, something to be got through first, some unfinished business, time still to be served, or a debt to be paid. Then life would begin. At last it dawned on me that these obstacles were my life." Alfred D. Souza. The most profound journeys often begin with a fundamental shift in perception, a new lens through which to view familiar terrain. Before we place a single sticky note on a board or download a single app, we must undertake this shift. We must move from seeing our days as a reactive sequence of events to understanding them as a dynamic, manageable flow. This is the essence of the Kanban mindset, and its application to self-development is nothing short of revolutionary. To grasp its power, we must first visit its birthplace. In the post-war years of mid-20th century Japan, Toyota faced a critical challenge: how to compete with the colossal, resource-rich assembly lines of American automakers like Ford. The American model was one of massive push production, forecast demand, produce enormous batches of parts, and push them through the system, storing huge inventories at every stage. It was efficient in theory, but bloated and brittle in practice, tying up capital in unused stock and struggling to adapt to change. Toyota engineer Taiichi Ohno, observing the simple efficiency of American supermarkets, had an insight. In a supermarket, customers pull what they need from the shelves, and stock is replenished only as it is consumed. This just-in-time system minimizes waste and maximizes responsiveness. Ono translated this into the manufacturing floor with the creation of Kanban, physical cards, literally visual signals, that would travel with a bin of parts. Only when a downstream workstation used the last part would the Kanban card be sent back upstream as a signal to produce only one more bin's worth. Production was dictated by actual consumption, not by a distant, often flawed, forecast. This was more than a logistical tweak. It was a philosophical earthquake. It replaced a push mentality of force and guesswork with a pull mentality of response and flow. The core principles that emerged, visualization of work, limitation of work in progress WIP, and relentless focus on smooth, unimpeded flow, created a system that was not only more efficient but also more humane, reducing stress and improving quality. Now, let us perform a profound act of translation. Move your mind from the factory floor in Toyota City to the landscape of your own inner world. What are we, if not complex systems for processing the raw materials of experience, aspiration, and responsibility into the finished goods of a meaningful life? And yet, how do most of us operate? We run on a model eerily similar to that old, inefficient American assembly line. We operate on a system of mental push production. Our brain, bombarded by inputs from every direction, emails, news alerts, family needs, societal shoulds, our own lofty ambitions, creates a massive, overwhelming forecast of everything we must do. We then attempt to push this inventory of tasks through the narrow bottleneck of our present moment consciousness. We stockpile mental inventories. The anxiety shelf is stacked with worries about future deadlines. The guilt aisle is overfilled with half-started projects and unmet promises. The someday maybe warehouse is bursting with dreams we can't quite reach. Our cognitive capital is trapped in this stagnant stock. The result is not productivity, but a familiar grinding paralysis. We are context switching constantly, our mental machinery screeching as it recalibrates from a work task to a household chore to a fitness goal. Each switch carries a cognitive changeover cost, draining focus and energy. We feel busy, but our throughput, the rate at which we meaningfully complete valuable work on ourselves, is pitifully low. The bottlenecks are palpable: procrastination, distraction, perfectionism, and sheer exhaustion. Our inner factory is chaotic, noisy, and inefficient. We are producing stress, not progress. This is where the Kanban philosophy shines as a beacon of clarity. It does not ask you to work harder. It asks you to see smarter and then to work differently. Let's break down its 3 pillars as they apply to the self. 1. Visualization, making the invisible visible. You cannot manage what is hidden in the fog of your own mind. The simple, radical act of writing down every task, commitment, and aspiration externalizes your cognitive load. It performs a brain dump that is both a psychological relief and a strategic masterstroke. Suddenly, learn Spanish, repair the shed, have a difficult conversation with X, and research investment options are no longer swirling ghosts haunting your mental periphery. They are tangible items placed before you on a backlog shelf. This act alone reduces anxiety by converting vague unease into defined, addressable entities. Your mind is freed from the exhausting work of remembering and reminding, liberated to engage in the deeper work of doing and being. The board becomes a single source of truth, a shared meeting point between your ambitious future self and your capable present self. 2. Limiting work in progress, WIP, the sacred discipline of focus. This is the beating heart of the Kanban philosophy and its most transformative personal application. In our push model lives, we glorify the multitasker, celebrating the person juggling a dozen balls. But neuroscience tells us multitasking is a myth. We are rapidly toggling attention, degrading performance, and increasing stress with each switch. Kanban introduces the revolutionary mandate. Set a strict, numeric limit on the number of items you allow in your doing column at any one time. Imagine your focus is a narrow, luminous beam. You can use it to illuminate 1 or 2 things brilliantly, allowing you to see detail, nuance, and path. Or you can try to spread that same beam across 10 different areas, leaving everything in a dim, murky twilight where nothing is clear and progress is impossible. A WIP limit, start with 3, never exceed 5, forces you to make conscious, strategic choices. Which 3 items right now will deliver the most value to my life's project? It cultivates the profound discipline of saying, not now, with authority. It teaches you to stop starting and start finishing. The psychological power of moving a task fully into done is immense. It builds self-trust, creates momentum, and releases dopamine in a virtuous cycle. You are no longer a harried juggler. You become a focused artisan, completing one beautiful piece before selecting the next block of raw material. 3. Managing flow, from bottlenecks to breakthroughs. With your work visualized and your active focus limited, your board ceases to be a static to-do list and becomes a dynamic flow visualization. You can now see where things get stuck. That card labeled Draft Chapter 1 has been languishing and in progress for 3 weeks. Why? The board invites you to investigate without self-flagellation. Is it blocked by a need for research, a missing input? By fear and emotional bottleneck? By a lack of a clear next step? Perhaps you need to create a blocked column and analyze these impediments during your weekly review. This shifts your identity from a task completer to a flow optimizer. Your goal is not just to do things, but to smooth the process of doing them. You begin to identify recurring patterns. You're great at starting creative projects, but terrible at the final 10% of polish. Administrative tasks consistently become bottlenecks because you avoid them. This awareness is gold. It allows for compassionate course correction. Maybe you need to pair an unpleasant task with a reward. Maybe you need to break Polish website down into 5 microscopic, irresistible steps. The board gives you data about your own operating system, enabling you to debug it. This philosophy is deeply aligned with ancient wisdom. It is the practical implementation of mindfulness, bringing non-judgmental awareness to the present process. It echoes the Stoic focus on what is within our control, the next small step, and the serene acceptance of what is not, the overwhelming totality of the backlog. It is the essence of Kaizen, the Japanese principle of continuous, incremental improvement. You are not aiming for a single, heroic, exhausting overhaul. You are creating a system that facilitates small, daily steps of betterment, which compound into monumental change over time. Adopting the Kanban mindset means rejecting the cultural narrative of frantic busyness as a badge of honor. It means choosing sustainable flow over frantic fits and starts. It means believing that the obstacles, the messy, stuck, frustrating parts of your process, are not failures, but the very data points you need to grow. They are, as the opening quote suggests, the substance of the life you are building. By visualizing them, limiting your engagement with them, and calmly optimizing your flow around them, you stop fighting your life and start orchestrating it. The factory of your potential, once chaotic and choked, is now primed for smooth, purposeful, and powerful production. The blueprint is complete. It is time to pick up your first tool. Chapter 2, Building Your Personal Board, the canvas of your potential. Quote, order is not a structure which controls chaos in a place or a time, nor is it a predetermined sequence of events. It is, rather, an endless process of balancing and integrating new information in a constant dialogue with the environment. Christopher Alexander, architect. The philosophy has taken root. The mindset is shifting. You understand the power of flow and the perils of the mental push system. Now, we transition from the abstract to the tangible. We move from thinking about the system to building the very environment where your transformation will unfold. This chapter is about architecture, not of steel and glass, but of intention and action. We are constructing the canvas of your potential, a living artifact that will make your growth visible, manageable, and infinitely more real. This act of creation is sacred. It is a declaration to yourself that your development is worthy of its own dedicated space, its own geography. The board is not just a tool. It is an extension of your mind, a collaborative partner in your journey. Whether you choose the tactile grit of physical materials or the sleek efficiency of digital space, the principles remain the same. To create a mirror that reflects not just what you must do, but how you move. Choosing your foundation, the physical-digital spectrum. Your first choice is one of medium, and it is deeply personal. Each has its own psychology and utility. The physical board, a whiteboard, a corkboard, a large sheet of paper on a wall you see daily. This is the temple approach. There is an undeniable power in tangibility. Writing a task on a sticky note and moving it with your own hand creates a visceral, muscular connection to the commitment. The board exists in your living space, a constant, ambient reminder of your priorities. It cannot be minimized or closed like a browser tab. It has presence. It's ideal for high-level, weekly focuses, and for those who think best kinesthetically. The limitation is its static nature. You can't access it from the grocery store or add a sudden insight while on the bus. The digital board, apps like Trello, Asana, Notion, or Mondaycom. This is the command center approach. Its power is one of ubiquity, flexibility, and richness. Your board is in your pocket, always accessible. You can attach files like that PDF you need to read, set deadlines that sync to your calendar, add detailed checklists within a card, and use labels and filters to slice your view, e.g. show me all health-related tasks. It is searchable, backupable, and shareable if you want an accountability partner to view your personal growth lane. It caters to the detail-oriented mind, but requires the discipline to open it proactively, lest it become digital wallpaper. The hybrid model. For many, this is the sweet spot. A physical board on the wall for the high-level weekly flow, the 3-5 things in doing, the celebratory done column you fill each week. Then, a digital system holds the master backlog and reference materials. This combines the ambient prominence of the physical with the infinite capacity of the digital. There is no right answer. The right choice is the one you will consistently engage with. Start simple. A pack of sticky notes and a blank wall section is a perfect, zero-excuse beginning. Architecting your workflow, from stagnant list to dynamic flow. A to-do list is a cemetery of intentions, a static line of text. A Kanban board is a map of a dynamic process. The columns you create represent the stages any meaningful task goes through in its journey from idea to completion. Let's build a robust personal workflow, column by column. The backlog, the someday maybe ocean. This is your brain's offload zone. Every fleeting thought, every aspirational goal, every oh I should goes here. Read War and Peace, learn to bake sourdough, plan a hiking trip, research graduate programs, call old friend. Nothing is too big or too small. This column liberates your mind. Its very existence gives you permission to capture an idea without the pressure to act on it now. It is the curated reservoir of your potential. The key rule: the backlog is not a commitment, it is a menu. Ready the runway. This is the critical staging ground. During your weekly review, which we'll detail in Chapter 5, you will swim into the backlog and with intention select a few items to promote. You will break down a vague backlog item, get fit, into actionable next step cards, do 20-minute bodyweight workout, plan weekly meals, research local gyms. These refined, ready-to-execute tasks populate your ready column. This column is your promise to yourself. I have clarified what done looks like, and I have everything I need to start. It is the runway where tasks are fueled and cleared for takeoff. In progress, the focus zone. This is the sanctum, governed by your sacred WIP limit from Chapter 1. Here live the 3-5 or fewer tasks you are actively, presently engaged in. This is not for things you've merely started. It's for tasks consuming your current focus cycles. Writing the introduction to my report. Doing my Wednesday workout. Having the budget conversation with my partner. The limited space here creates psychological safety and fierce priority. It is a visual contract. I will not dilute my energy further than this. Blocked/need help, the diagnostic bay. This is perhaps the most psychologically healthy column you will create. Instead of letting a stalled task fester in progress, draining your morale, you move it here. Blocked, car repair estimate waiting for mechanic's call. Need help, setting up website SSL certificate. This move is not a failure. It is a brilliant act of systems management. It identifies an impediment outside your immediate control and quarantines it, freeing your in-progress slot for something you can move forward. It turns frustration into data. Review/refine, the quality check. Not every task is simply done. Some creations need a second look. This column is for tasks that are complete but require a separate reflective pass. Draft of Chapter 1 moves here for editing. First draft of Resume moves here for proofreading. List of potential contractors moves here for final comparison. This separates the creative productive act from the critical refining act, honoring each as a distinct phase of work. Done, the celebration archive. This is the most important column of all. It is not a graveyard, it is a trophy case. Every card that lands here is a testament to your focus, effort, and completion. The act of moving it here should be deliberate and at least inwardly celebrated. At the end of the week, gazing at a filled, done column provides incontrovertible evidence of your progress, combating the imposter syndrome that whispers you've done nothing. It is the fuel for your momentum. The art of the card, from vague intent to actionable unit. A card is the atomic unit of your system. How you write it determines whether it invites action or induces guilt. A good card is a clear contract. Start with a strong verb. Call, draft, research, buy, practice, declutter. This defines the action. Be specific and bounded. Instead of taxes, write gather all 2023 expense receipts. Instead of plan vacation, write book flights for July trip to Maine. Clarity eliminates the hesitation of where do I even start? Embrace the minimum viable action, MVA. This is the smallest, complete, valuable step forward. The goal is not to exhaust the topic, but to create motion. The MVA for learn Spanish is not achieve fluency. It might be complete Duolingo, greetings 1 lesson, or listen to 10 minutes of a Spanish podcast. Small wins build the highway of habit. Consider adding subtle layers of information. Labels/colors, a quick visual filter. Red for high energy, blue for administrative, green for health, yellow for family. Checklists inside a larger card, plan family barbecue. A checklist breaks it down. Create guest list, plan menu, buy groceries. Due dates used sparingly. For true time-bound commitments, e.g., submit proposal by Friday. Avoid putting arbitrary deadlines on everything, or the board becomes a source of stress, not flow. Creating lanes, the panoramic view of life. Now elevate the architecture. Draw horizontal lines across your columns to create swim lanes. These represent the key domains of your life. A simple, powerful set is career, relationships, health and wellness, personal growth, home and finances. This transforms your board from a task manager into a life balance dashboard. You can now see at a glance if your career lane is overflowing, while your health and wellness lane is empty. A stark, visual cue that your system is out of ecological balance. It forces holistic thinking. Pulling a new task into ready becomes a conscious choice, not just about urgency, but about investing in a specific facet of your humanity. As architect Christopher Alexander suggests, true order is not a rigid cage. Your board is not a prison. It is a living system, an endless process of balancing. This week, your health lane might be packed as you train for a race. Next month, personal growth may dominate as you start a course. The board accepts this flow. Its structure provides the stable riverbanks that allow the current of your changing priorities to run strong and clear without spilling into chaos. You have now built your cockpit. The controls are laid out before you. The instruments are calibrated. The philosophy is your flight manual. It is time, in the next chapter, to learn the most critical skill of all: how to navigate the powerful, often counterintuitive, discipline of focus that will turn this static canvas into a masterpiece of motion. Chapter 3, The Art of the Card, Defining Meaningful. Quote, "We overestimate what we can do in a day and underestimate what we can do in a year. We overvalue the grand gesture and undervalue the incremental gain. The mightiest of journeys is paved not with great leaps, but with small, certain steps. An adaptation of Bill Gates and the wisdom of compounding." Your board is built. Its columns stand as silent sentinels awaiting their purpose, and its lanes stretch out like empty fields ready for cultivation. Now, we turn to the seed from which all growth on this canvas will spring: the card. This chapter is a deep dive into the alchemy of translating the fog of aspiration into the clear, actionable gold of progress. The humble card, be it a sticky note or a digital entry, is where your self-development dream makes first contact with the reality of your daily life. How you craft it will determine whether it becomes a building block of momentum or another silent monument to good intentions. To understand the card's power, we must first diagnose the chronic failure of the traditional to-do list. The list is a tyranny of vagueness. Items like get in shape, write book, or learn investing are not tasks. They are projects, or more accurately, outcomes. They are distant mountain peaks shrouded in mist. Placed on a list, they become inert, daunting monoliths. They trigger what psychologists call the omission-commission dilemma. We avoid them because we cannot clearly see the first step, omission. And when we do attempt them, we feel overwhelmed by the sheer scale of the work commission. They live in the realm of anxiety, not action. The Kanban card, by contrast, is an instrument of clarity. It is a contract you make with your future self. A well-crafted card does not point to a mountain. It describes the next few feet of the trail. Its purpose is to eliminate hesitation, to make starting so frictionless that action becomes the path of least resistance. This is the essence of the minimum viable action, MVA, a concept borrowed from product development and refined for the self. The MVA is the smallest, complete, and valuable unit of progress you can make. It is not about doing the least possible work. It is about engineering a guaranteed win. The anatomy of a powerful card, a 5-point checklist. Crafting an MVA is a skill. Let's dissect the principles. It must be defined by a physical or concrete action. A card should describe a behavior, not an abstract state. The brain understands and can execute behaviors. Feel more confident is a state, an intangible outcome. The card for that project is practice my 5-minute presentation aloud 3 times. Be a better partner is a noble but fuzzy ideal. The card is plan a surprise date night for Friday. The action must be something you can literally point a camera at and record yourself doing. If you can't visually document the completion, the card is too vague. It must have a clear, unambiguous done state. You must know without a shadow of a doubt when the card is finished. Ambiguity is the enemy of completion. Research retirement options is endless. When are you done? After an hour? After reading 10 articles? This ambiguity leads to either perpetual motion, never moving the card, or arbitrary abandonment, moving it out of guilt. A strong card has a binary finish line. Read and summarize the first chapter of The Simple Path to Wealth. Call and get quotes from 3 financial advisors. Transfer $100 to my IRA. Done is done. You can walk away. It should be small enough to fit within a single focus session. This is the practical constraint of the WIP limit. A card titled Outline Entire Business Plan could consume your in-progress slot for a week, creating a bottleneck and stalling everything else. Break it into the MVAs that constitute it. Draft the problem statement section. List 5 potential competitor names. Sketch 3 logo ideas. Each should be completable in a focused session of 25-90 minutes. This creates a rhythm of completion, feeding your done column with a steady stream of evidence that you are moving. It should deliver a micro value. Every card, no matter how small, should move the needle, however slightly, on something that matters to you. The value of organize the top drawer of my desk is not just tidiness. It's the psychological victory of order, the reclaimed time of not searching for scissors, the momentum generated by a completed environment. The card, text John to check in, delivers the value of nurturing a connection. When you attach even a tiny piece of value to the action, it transforms from a chore into a conscious investment. It should be written in your own active voice. The language matters. Taxes need to be filed is passive and externalizes the responsibility. I will gather my W-2s and 1099s is an active commitment from you to you. Use I statements or strong command verbs. Draft, call, buy, practice, email, declutter. The card is a directive from your planning self to your executing self. Make the communication clear and personal. From mountain to molehill, the practice of progressive elaboration. Let's apply this anatomy in a transformative exercise. Take a classic, monolithic life goal. Write a book. Placed on a backlog, this is a dream killer. It's a suffocating weight. But through the lens of the MVA and progressive elaboration, we can breathe life into it. Step 1, backlog item. Write a book. Step 2, first breakdown, still in backlog. This isn't a card yet, it's a project. We break it into phases which become new backlog items or epic cards. 1, develop book concept. 2, outline chapters. 3, draft manuscript. 4, revise manuscript. 5, research publishing. Step 3, creating the first true cards, moving to ready. We take the first epic, develop book concept, and break it into MVAs. Card 1, brainstorm and list 10 possible book topics in a 20-minute timed session. Card 2, for my top 3 topics, write 1 paragraph summarizing the core idea. Card 3, share the 3 paragraphs with 2 trusted friends and ask for their instinctive reaction. Card 4, based on feedback, choose the primary topic and write a 3-sentence elevator pitch. Suddenly, write a book is no longer a terrifying abyss. It is a sequence of 4 very clear, very doable actions sitting in your ready column. You have transformed anxiety into a roadmap. This is progressive elaboration. You only break down what you are ready to commit to in the immediate future. You don't need to outline all 12 chapters today. You only need to develop the concept enough to take the next step. Advanced card craft, enriching the contract. Once you master the basic MVA, you can add subtle layers of intelligence to your cards, turning them into rich repositories of context. This is especially powerful in digital systems, but can be simulated physically with small notations. The why on the back, on the reverse of a sticky note, or in the description field of a digital card, jot the deeper reason. Go for a 30-minute run. The why might be to clear my head and build endurance for the spring 5K. This connects the mundane action to the higher order value, fortifying your motivation when resistance arises. Resource links. Attach or note the link to the article you need to read, the YouTube tutorial you need to watch, or the document template you need to use. This eliminates the searching barrier that often blocks action. Energy and context labels. Tag cards with high focus, low energy, phone call, errand, 15 minutes. This allows you to choose a card from your ready column that fits your current context. In a tired 15-minute gap, you can pick a low-energy 15-minute card like sort through yesterday's emails, saving the high-focus card for your dedicated deep work block. The cardinal sin, the miscellaneous or admin dump card. A common trap is to create a card called miscellaneous tasks or weekly admin and throw a mental checklist inside it. This violates every principle of the Kanban mindset. It makes work invisible, you can't see the subtasks. It destroys flow. The card never moves to done because it's never truly complete, and it becomes a cognitive dumping ground. If you have 5 small administrative tasks, write 5 small cards. The act of moving each one individually to done provides multiple hits of completion momentum, which is far more valuable than the false efficiency of grouping them. The art of the card is, ultimately, the art of self-compassionate clarity. It is the refusal to bully yourself with vague, overwhelming demands. It is the choice to be a kind and precise project manager for your own life. Each well-crafted card is a vote of confidence in your ability to progress. It says, I trust myself to know what to do next, and I have made it easy to begin. As you populate your board with these clear, compassionate contracts, you will feel the energy in the system begin to hum. The stagnant weight of your to-do list evaporates, replaced by the dynamic pull of a well-mapped journey. You have mastered the seed. Now, we learn the discipline of the garden, how to carefully select which seeds to plant and nurture in the fertile ground of your focused attention. Chapter 4, The Power of Limiting Doing, the Focus Imperative. Quote, concentration is the secret of strength in politics, in war, in trade, in short, in all management of human affairs. Ralph Waldo Emerson. Your canvas is prepared, populated with cards of crystalline clarity. Each one is a viable next step, a small but certain promise. Now, we arrive at the threshold of the system, the single most transformative and counterintuitive rule in the entire Kanban philosophy for self-development. It is a rule that defies the cultural gospel of busyness, that challenges our deepest insecurities about productivity, and that holds the key to unlocking profound, sustainable flow. This rule is the work in progress, WIP limit. It is not a suggestion. It is the sacred boundary that transforms your board from a display of possibilities into an engine of achievement. To understand the WIP limit's necessity, we must confront the modern myth of multitasking. We wear our ability to juggle multiple demands as a badge of honor. We equate frantic activity with important work. But this is a profound neurological and psychological error. What we call multitasking is, in reality, task switching. The human brain is not wired for parallel processing of conscious tasks. It is a serial processor with a remarkably agile, but costly, attention-switching mechanism. Each time you pivot from writing a report to checking a text, from practicing meditation to mentally drafting a grocery list, your brain must perform a complex cognitive operation. It must disengage from the rules and context of the first task, inhibit its activation, then load the rules and context of the second task. This switch carries a metabolic cost. It burns glucose and executive function, and a temporal cost known as the switching penalty. Studies suggest it can take several minutes to fully re-immerse your attention in a complex task after an interruption. When you attempt to maintain 5 tasks in your doing state, you are not doing 5 things at once. You are doing one thing, poorly and expensively, while paying a heavy tax in attention, energy, and time 4 times over. You are, in essence, creating a traffic jam in your own mind. This is where the WIP limit acts as your personal cognitive traffic controller. By imposing a strict, numeric ceiling on the number of cards allowed in your in-progress column, let us start with the radical number of 3. You are not limiting your potential. You are liberating your attention. You are making a declarative statement. For now, until one of these is complete, these are my priorities. Everything else, no matter how seemingly urgent, must wait on the runway. The psychology of the limit, from scarcity to abundance. Implementing a WIP limit triggers an immediate and profound psychological shift. Initially, it feels like scarcity, like you are handcuffing your own ambition. The 10 cards in your ready column clamor for attention. Your brain, trained in the old push model, screams that you should start them all now to feel productive. This is the addiction to starting, which provides a fleeting dopamine hit of novelty without the deeper satisfaction of closure. The WIP limit forces you through this withdrawal and into a new realm, the abundance of completion. When you can only have 3 active commitments, you are compelled to choose, not based on what is loudest, but on what is most valuable. This act of conscious selection is the essence of strategic self-management. You ask, which of these, if completed today, would most move the needle on my life's project? The limit cultivates the mature discipline of strategic neglect, the understanding that to excel at a few vital things, you must willingly and cheerfully ignore a multitude of good, but less important, things. Furthermore, the limit creates a powerful pull system. You are no longer pushing tasks onto an overloaded present self. Instead, the completion of a task creates an empty slot, a vacuum of potential in your in-progress column. This vacancy, then, pulls the next most important task from your ready column. Progress becomes a rhythmic cycle of completion and selection, governed by your intentional priorities rather than by external demands. The empty slot is a signal of capacity, a space you can fill with deliberation, not a gap to be frantically stuffed. The mechanics of flow, how WIP limits unblock your system. On a practical level, the WIP limit is your primary diagnostic tool for identifying and eliminating bottlenecks. Imagine your workflow as a pipeline. Your ready column is the reservoir, your in-progress column is the narrow pipe, and your done column is the output. If you try to force too much into the pipe at once, the entire system backs up, pressure builds, and nothing flows out. With a WIP limit in place, you can see the blockage in real time. If a card has been stuck in progress, for days, it is no longer hidden amongst a dozen other stagnant tasks. It stands out. The limit forces you to confront it. Is it blocked because it was poorly defined? Return to Chapter 3. Is it blocked because you lack a skill or resource? Move it to blocked need help. Is it blocked because you are avoiding the emotional discomfort it entails? This confrontation is not punitive. It is systemic optimization. You are debugging your own process. Perhaps you discover that creative tasks need a higher energy state, so you create a WIP limit of 1 for high-focus creative work. Perhaps you find that small administrative tasks get perpetually starved, so you institute a rule that one of your 3 slots must always be for a 5-minute task to keep the administrative stream flowing. The WIP limit gives you the data and the constraint necessary to design a personal workflow that actually works for you. Implementing your limit, a guide to setting boundaries. Start with a number that feels uncomfortably small. 3 is the golden starting point for most people. It is small enough to force hard choices, but large enough to allow for variety, e.g., 1 career task, 1 health task, 1 relationship task across your swim lanes. Physical board, draw a small circle or write WIP limit, 3 at the top of your in-progress column. If you have 4 sticky notes there, you are in violation of your own system. You cannot add a new one until you complete or move one out. Digital board. Most Kanban apps allow you to set a WIP limit on a column. The software will visually warn you, often by turning the column red, when you exceed it. Use this feature. Let the machine enforce the discipline while you build the habit. Respecting the boundary. This is the hard part. When a new, urgent demand appears, an unexpected request, a tempting new idea, you face the choice. You cannot simply add it. You must either A. Reject it or defer it to the backlog. B. Swap it for an existing in-progress task, consciously deciding which current priority is less important. Or C. Complete a current task with focused speed to free up a slot. This moment of choice is where your integrity to your own priorities is forged. The liberating result. Deep work and the completion effect. The ultimate gift of the WIP limit is that it creates the preconditions for deep work. The state of uninterrupted, focused concentration on a cognitively demanding task. By fencing off your attention, you give yourself permission to dive in. You silence the internal nagging about the other 9 things you should be doing because your system has explicitly assigned them a later time. The limit is a cognitive permission slip to be here, now, fully engaged with this one thing. And when you finish, you experience the completion effect. Moving that card to done is not just a logistical step, it is a psychological event. It provides a clean sense of closure, a release of tension, and an authentic hit of accomplishment. It builds self-trust. You become a person who finishes what they start. This repeated, small cycle reinforcement is the rocket fuel of long-term self-development. A steady drip of dones is infinitely more motivating than a chaotic churn of perpetual doings. Emerson's insight on concentration as the secret of strength finds its practical application here. The WIP limit is the technology of concentration. It is the deliberate, structural choice to stop scattering your strength across a wide field of shallow effort and to begin concentrating it on a narrow point of breakthrough. By limiting what is doing, you are not doing less. You are accomplishing more of what truly matters, with greater depth, less stress, and a profound sense of sovereign control over the most precious resource you have, your focused attention. The chaos of the push model is silenced. In its place, you hear the clear, steady, powerful rhythm of your own purposeful flow. Chapter 5, The Daily and Weekly Flow, The Rituals of Reflection. Quote, "We do not learn from experience, we learn from reflecting on experience." John Dewey. You have constructed your board, mastered the art of the actionable card, and imposed the liberating discipline of the WIP limit. Your system is elegant, logical, and poised for action. Yet a static system, no matter how beautifully designed, will inevitably decay. Cards will grow stale in the ready column. The done column will fill and be forgotten. The backlog will become a digital junk drawer of abandoned whims. Without motion, the board transforms from a living map into a museum of old intentions. This chapter is about the engine that keeps it all alive, the rituals of reflection. The Kanban system is not a set-it-and-forget-it tool. It is a practice. Its power is unlocked not in the grand, initial setup, but in the small, consistent ceremonies of review and renewal. These rituals, the daily stand-up and the weekly review, are the heartbeat of your system. They are where you transition from being a passive builder of the board to becoming an active pilot, constantly course-correcting based on the data your life is giving you. The daily stand-up, the 3-question compass. In agile teams, a daily stand-up is a brief, standing meeting where each member answers 3 questions to synchronize the group. For your personal Kanban, this becomes a powerful, private ritual of self-accountability and intentionality. It should take no more than 5 minutes, performed at a consistent time each morning, or the night before. The 3 questions form a compass to orient your day. What did I move to done yesterday? This is not merely a review of tasks. It is a conscious practice of acknowledgement. Look at your done column from the last 24 hours. Take a mental moment to recognize the effort, focus, and completion you achieved. This simple act counteracts the brain's negativity bias, which tends to highlight what's unfinished. It builds a foundation of self-trust and momentum. You are proving to yourself daily that you are a person who finishes things. What will I work on today? What's in my in progress? This is your commitment scan. Look at the 3-5 cards currently limited in your in progress column. Are these still the most important things? Do they align with your energy and schedule today? This question forces presence. It is not about your entire backlog. It is about the narrow slice of work you have already sanctified as your current priority. Your job today is to advance these items, and only these, until one is complete. Is anything blocked? This is your systems check. Scan your board, especially your in progress and blocked columns. Is there a card stuck because you're waiting on an email, lacking information, or avoiding a difficult phone call? Identifying a blockage is not a failure. It is a successful diagnosis. The moment you name it, blog draft is blocked until I get feedback from Sarah, you can decide. You can nudge Sarah, you can switch the card to blocked, or you can break the task down further to work on an unblocked part. This question prevents stagnation from festering in the dark. This daily ritual does more than organize your tasks. It organizes your mind. It clears the mental cache of yesterday's concerns, sets a bounded focus for today, and proactively troubleshoots impediments. It is the practice of beginning each day not in reaction to the inbox, but in alignment with your board, your chosen priorities. The weekly review, the cathedral of reflection. If the daily stand-up is a compass, the weekly review is your map-making session. This is a deeper, quieter, more expansive ritual, perhaps 60-90 minutes. Ideally at the same time each week, Friday afternoon or Sunday evening are classics. This is not about doing work. It is about stewarding the system that enables your work. Think of it as the chief mechanic grounding the aircraft for scheduled maintenance. The weekly review follows a natural flow, a liturgy of renewal. Phase 1, gather and process. Start by collecting all the mental litter that has accumulated over the week. Empty your physical notebook, capture stray thoughts on your phone, note down anything that popped into your head as a should or someday. Process each item. Does it belong on your board? If so, as what? A new backlog card? A next action for an existing project? If not, discard it or file it as reference. This captures all open loops, securing them outside your mind. Phase 2, celebrate and archive. Now turn to your done column. This is a critical act of celebration. Review every card you completed this week. Do not just glance, absorb. You organized the garage, had that tough conversation, finished 3 gym sessions, read 100 pages. This is the empirical evidence of your life moving forward. In digital systems, move these cards to an archive list or a 2024 wins board. On a physical board, take a photo, create a done album on your phone, and then clear the column. This ceremonial clearing creates psychological closure for the week and makes space for new accomplishments. It is the ultimate antidote to the feeling that I got nothing done this week. Phase 3, analyze and adjust the heart of Kaizen. Here, you move from celebrant to scientist. Analyze the flow of your board. The blocked column. What patterns do you see? Are you consistently blocked waiting on others? Do creative tasks always stall in the revision stage? Each blockage is a clue about your process or your environment. The in-progress column. Did your WIP limit of 3 feel right? Was it too restrictive, causing anxiety? Too loose, allowing distraction to creep in? Adjust it for next week. Cycle time. How long did cards typically sit in progress? Is that acceptable for their type? This data helps you set more realistic expectations for yourself. Swim lane balance. Look across the lanes of your life: career, health, relationships. Does the distribution of completed work reflect your values? If your health lane is a desert, that is a powerful, non-judgmental signal to rebalance. This phase is Kaizen, continuous improvement in action. You are not blaming yourself for blockages, you are improving the system that revealed them. Maybe you need a waiting for subcolumn. Maybe right tasks need to be broken down even smaller. The board is giving you feedback and you are listening. Phase 4, replenish and recommit. With a clean slate and fresh insights, look to your backlog. This is where you connect your daily system to your long-term vision. Review your goals and aspirations. What feels most important for the coming week? Select 5-7 items from the backlog, and using the principles from Chapter 3, break them into sharp, actionable cards for your ready column. Then, mindfully pull 3-5 of them into your in progress column, respecting your WIP limit. You are not just filling slots, you are making a conscious commitment for the week ahead, ensuring your daily efforts are ladders leaning against the right walls. Phase 5, big picture alignment, monthly, quarterly. Once a month, extend the review. Zoom out from the tactical. Look at your archived done columns. What themes are emerging? What long-term project is advancing? Does your current weekly work still align with your quarterly or annual intentions? This is where you might add, remove, or radically alter entire swim lanes on your board. Your life is not static. Your board must evolve with it. John Dewey's wisdom rings true here. The experiences of the week, the wins, the blocks, the distractions, are just data. It is in the structured reflection of the weekly review that this data becomes learning, and learning becomes wisdom. This ritual transforms your Kanban board from a mere productivity tool into a learning loop for your life. It ensures you are not just busy, but adaptively intelligent in your pursuit of growth. You are no longer just following a map. You are becoming the cartographer of your own unfolding potential. Chapter 6, Advanced Lanes, Visualizing the Whole Person. Quote, "You are not a machine with broken parts. You are an animal whose needs are not being met." Johann Hari, adapted. Up to this point, our journey has been one of powerful simplification. We have learned to capture the chaos, focus our efforts, and reflect on our progress. Yet, a risk remains. In our zeal for productivity and flow, we might inadvertently optimize one part of our lives at the terrible expense of others. We could become a lean, efficient machine for career output, while our health deteriorates and our relationships wither. We might craft beautiful personal growth cards, all while our financial foundations crack. The system, in its elegance, could blind us to the ecosystem. This chapter is an expansion of vision. We move from managing tasks to stewarding a life. We introduce advanced lanes, also called swim lanes, which are the horizontal categories that segment your Kanban board into the core domains of your existence. This transforms your tool from a productivity engine into a holistic life balance dashboard. It is the practice of ensuring that the person you are becoming is not a specialist in one narrow field of endeavor, but an integrated, resilient, and whole human being. The philosophy here is integrative. It acknowledges that you are not a single project resource. You are a portfolio. Just as a wise investor diversifies to manage risk and capture growth across market sectors, a wise self-manager diversifies attention and energy across life sectors. Neglect one sector for too long, and its decline will inevitably create drag or even cause catastrophic failure in all the others. Burnout at work, career lane, destroys your capacity for joy in your relationships lane. Chronic neglect of your health lane will siphon energy from your personal growth lane. The lanes are not silos. They are interconnected chambers of a single heart. Designing your lanes, the architecture of a life. The labels you choose for your lanes are deeply personal, but they should be comprehensive and meaningful. A robust, versatile set includes career/work. This lane is for tasks related to your profession, vocation, or primary productive output. It includes not just immediate job tasks, but strategic career development, skill building, networking, and professional organization. Health and wellness. the foundation. This encompasses physical health, exercise, nutrition, sleep, medical appointments, mental health, meditation, therapy, digital detox, and energetic health, managing stamina, rest, and recovery. Relationships and family, the connective tissue of life. Cards here are for nurturing bonds, planning quality time with a partner, calling a parent, organizing a friend gathering, or engaging in meaningful communication to resolve conflicts. Personal growth and learning, the expansion lane. This is for the skills, knowledge, and experiences that help you evolve. Reading books, taking courses, learning a language, practicing an instrument, or engaging in creative hobbies. Home and finances, the infrastructure lane. This manages the physical and economic systems that support your life. Home repairs, cleaning, budgeting, bill payments, tax preparation, and financial planning. Spirit and contribution, optional but powerful. For some, a lane for the soul and the community is vital. This can include spiritual practice, volunteer work, community service, or environmental stewardship, activities that connect you to something larger than yourself. To create these, simply draw horizontal lines across your columns: to do, doing, done on a physical board. In a digital tool, this is usually a swim lane or row feature. Each lane gets its own label. The power of the panoramic view. Once established, the panoramic view of a laned board delivers immediate, often startling, insights. You are no longer just asking, "What should I do next?" You are asking, "In which domain of my life should I invest my next unit of energy?" The visual data is compelling. The deserted lane, a lane with only one dusty, aging card, is a silent alarm. A barren health lane for 3 weeks is not a productivity triumph. It is a future medical bill and a present energy deficit waiting to happen. The board makes this neglect undeniable and non-judgmental. It simply shows the emptiness. The overgrown lane. Conversely, a career lane bursting with cards, while other lanes are starved, is the classic portrait of a life heading for imbalance. You see the obsession in real time. The system doesn't scold you. It shows you the topography of your attention, allowing you to course correct before a crisis forces you to. The blockage cascade. You may see that a blockage in your home lane, e.g., deal with leaking roof, is creating background anxiety that's paralyzing your progress in the career lane. The lanes help you diagnose cross-system failures. This visualization empowers you to make integrative choices. During your weekly review, as you replenish your ready column, you can consciously pull cards from different lanes to create a balanced portfolio for the week ahead. You might decide, "This week, my 3 in-progress slots will be 1 from career, finalize the Q3 report, 1 from health, complete 4 gym sessions, and 1 from relationships, plan the anniversary dinner." You are not just managing tasks, you're curating a life. Advanced tactics, lane-specific WIP limits, and energy mapping. With lanes, your system can become even more sophisticated and self-aware. Differential WIP limits. You may realize that not all lanes operate at the same intensity. Your career lane might effectively handle a WIP limit of 2 major projects. Your personal growth lane, however, might thrive with a limit of 1, allowing for deep immersion. Your home lane might benefit from a rule like no more than 3 active chores at once. You can set these sublimits to prevent any one lane from monopolizing your cognitive bandwidth. Energy and context tagging by lane. Certain lanes are tied to specific contexts or energy states. Most health tasks require physical energy. Many finance tasks require administrative focus. You can color code or tag cards not just by project, but by the type of resource they consume. This allows for even smarter selection from your ready column. On a low-energy Wednesday evening, you can filter for a low-energy task from your relationships lane. Watch a documentary with partner, rather than forcing a high-focus task from your career lane. The maintenance versus advancement balance. Within each lane, you can start to distinguish between maintenance cards, those that keep the system running. Pay electricity bill, grocery shop, 15-minute daily tidy, and advancement cards, those that move you toward a new state. Run a 10K, complete certification course. Save $5,000 for a down payment. A healthy lane requires both. A board with only maintenance cards is a life in stasis. A board with only advancement cards is a life on the brink of collapse as the foundational systems crumble. The lane as a mirror of values. Ultimately, your chosen lanes and the distribution of cards within them become a stark mirror of your lived values, not the values you profess, but the values you enact through your hours and attention. It is a tool for radical honesty. If you claim, health is my #1 priority, but your health lane has been empty for a month, the board invites a gentle, non-shamming inquiry. Is the claim untrue, or is there a hidden blockage? Perhaps go to the gym is too vague a card, and it needs to be broken into lay out workout clothes tonight and drive to gym at 7 a.m. Johann Hari's quote reframes the entire endeavor. You are not a machine to be fixed with better task management. You are a complex animal whose needs for security, connection, vitality, growth, and purpose must be met. The laned Kanban board becomes a tool for need management. It ensures you are regularly, systematically attending to the full spectrum of your animal and spiritual needs, preventing the slow leak of vitality that comes from chronic neglect in any one domain. By visualizing the whole person, you commit to developing the whole person. You move beyond mere efficiency toward a state of integrated thriving. The board is no longer just about what you are doing. It is a living portrait of who you are becoming in all your multifaceted humanity. It ensures that the masterpiece you are creating is not a single, brilliant stroke, but a complete and beautiful painting. Chapter 7, The Kaizen of the Self, Continuous Improvement. Quote, do not seek to follow in the footsteps of the wise, seek what they sought. Matsuo Basho. We have journeyed far. From a philosophical seed, we have cultivated a living system, a board that visualizes our commitments, a practice that focuses our energy, and a ritual that renews our direction. We have learned to see ourselves not as a broken machine, but as a dynamic portfolio of interconnected domains. Yet, to stop here would be to mistake the map for the territory, the tool for the transformation. This final chapter is about the spirit that must animate the system, lest it become another rigid cage. It is about the ultimate purpose of this entire endeavor, not to manage a life, but to foster an evolution. This is the chapter of Kaizen. Kaizen, Chinese letter, is a Japanese term meaning change for the better or continuous improvement. In its industrial context, it is the relentless, incremental pursuit of eliminating waste and optimizing processes. But applied to the self, Kaizen becomes a profound personal philosophy. It is the quiet understanding that the goal is not a destination of perfection or a finished state of productivity. The goal is the graceful, ongoing process of refinement itself. Your Kanban system is not a hammer to beat yourself into a preconceived shape. It is a scalpel for the delicate, daily surgery of becoming. This chapter moves us from using the board as a task manager to wielding it as a mirror for meta-learning. The data it provides, cycle times, blockage patterns, lane imbalances, is not merely logistical. It is anthropological data about you, the operator. The system's true power is realized when you start to improve not just your output, but your operating system. From data to wisdom, your board is a biofeedback device. Every card that moves through your workflow generates data. Most of this data is currently used tactically. This is done, that is blocked. But we can analyze it strategically to answer deeper questions. Cycle time analysis. How long does it typically take you to move a card from ready to done? Is it 3 hours for administrative tasks? 3 weeks for creative projects? Once you know your personal averages, you can plan with self-compassion instead of fantasy. You can stop berating yourself for not drafting a report in an afternoon if your data shows quality drafting takes you 3 focused days. You can also spot anomalies. A card that took 4 times longer than its type usually does is a signal to investigate. Was it poorly scoped? Was it interrupted? Did it trigger resistance? Throughput measurement. How many cards do you actually complete in a week? Not a guess. The count from your done column archive. This is your personal throughput rate. Observing this over time reveals your natural rhythms. You may find your throughput dips in February or soars in October. This isn't failure, it's biology and biography. You can then plan ambitious projects during your high-throughput seasons and schedule maintenance and reflection during your lower ones. Blockage pattern recognition. Your blocked need help column is a goldmine of insight. Are you consistently blocked waiting for other people? This might indicate a need to build more buffer time into plans or to improve your communication of deadlines. Are you blocked by tasks you find aversive, e.g., financial paperwork, difficult conversations? This pattern points not to a character flaw, but to a process flaw. The solution may be to temptation bundle an aversive task with a pleasure, or to break it into microscopically small steps to overcome the initial activation energy. This analysis is performed not with a spirit of self-critique, but with the detached curiosity of a scientist studying a fascinating subject. The board objectifies your patterns, allowing you to see them without the distorting lens of emotion. System-level Kaizen, evolving your own framework. With this data in hand, you can now practice Kaizen on the Kanban system itself. The rules you started with are hypotheses, not commandments. Your weekly review becomes a continuous improvement session for your personal operating system. Experiment with workflow stages. The standard columns ready, doing, done are a starting template. Your data might suggest a new column is needed. If waiting for feedback is a major category of blockage, formalize it with a waiting for column. If you discover a creative vortex stage where ideas need to simmer, add an incubating column between backlog and ready. Your workflow should mirror your mind's real process. Refine your WIP limits. That initial limit of 3 in progress was a guess. Now, use data. If you consistently feel overwhelmed and are context switching, try lowering it to 2. If you find yourself constantly waiting for one slow task while other slots sit idle, perhaps a limit of 3 in doing, with a sublimit of 1 on deep focus tasks would work better. The limit is a dial to tune your focus, not a one-size-fits-all rule. Evolve your lane structure. The lanes you defined in Chapter 6 are not eternal. As your life changes, your lanes should change. A wedding planning lane might appear for a year, then vanish, absorbed back into home and relationships. A career lane might split into primary job and side hustle. A new parenting lane might emerge. The board is a living document of your current life architecture. It must be flexible enough to accommodate life seasons. The ultimate shift, from managing tasks to cultivating capabilities. This is the pinnacle of the Kaizen journey. You begin to see that the cards you complete are less important than the muscles you develop and the obstacles you dissolve in the process. The completion muscle. Every card moved to done strengthens your ability to finish what you start. This builds self-trust, the foundational currency of all self-development. The clarification muscle. The practice of breaking down vague dreams into MVAs hones your ability to think clearly, to solve problems by dissection, and to chart a path through complexity. The focus muscle. Adhering to your WIP limit against the world's endless distractions is a daily gym session for your attentional control, building mental discipline. The self-knowledge muscle. Interpreting your board's data teaches you about your energy cycles, your true priorities, and your unique patterns of resistance and flow. The cards themselves are the weights you lift to build these muscles. The completed task is secondary. The stronger, more capable person who completed it is the primary outcome. You stop asking, "How much did I get done?" and start asking, "What did I become more capable of today?" Embracing the infinite game. Author Simon Sinek distinguishes between finite games, played to win, with fixed rules and endpoints, like chess, and infinite games, played for the sake of playing, where the goal is to keep the game going, like culture or health. Traditional productivity often frames life as a finite game. Crush your to-do list, achieve the goal, win the day. The Kaizen of the self, facilitated by your living Kanban system, reframes your development as an infinite game. There is no final state of organized or successful. There is only the perpetual, graceful dance of adjusting to new information, integrating new aspirations, and refining your process. The board is the game board for this infinite play. Some cards will be played completed, the lanes will shift, life changes, The rules will be tweaked to process improvements, but the purpose remains: to keep engaging, keep learning, and keep flowing. Basho's wisdom guides us home. The wise have long sought growth, balance, and meaning. We have not sought to follow their specific footsteps, their precise habits or routines. Instead, we have sought what they sought: a system for intentional living. We found it not in a rigid doctrine, but in a flexible, visual, self-correcting practice of paying exquisite attention to our own process. Your Kanban board, in the end, is an altar to attention. It is a statement that your time, your energy, and your growth are sacred and worthy of a dedicated space. It is a promise to engage with your life not as a series of accidents, but as a conscious, evolving creation. You are both the artist and the artifact. The final, most important column is not on the board. It is you, continuously improving, one small, deliberate, visible step at a time, forever.